Up next, we want to get some wisdom from Ric Grenell. He is the former acting director of national intelligence and the former ambassador for the United States to Germany. Ambassador Grenell, thank you so much for joining us. You're the perfect person to ask this question because as former DNI, you know so well the burden and the obligations of a commander-in-chief of the United States, but also you're from California, so you know better than most the background and the capabilities of Kamala Harris. Do you have reason to be worried about the idea of her as commander-in-chief?
Well, first of all, let's just make clear that if you think that the media in Washington, D.C. pushing propaganda is a problem, wait until you get a hold of the Sacramento reporters pushing propaganda. We have a one-state system here in California. Kamala Harris has not been put forward in any way to the media to be scrutinized. She's not unique in that. It's most Democrats in California, because we have a one-party system, they just go through their career and they actually never get pushback or tough questions. What we're seeing now is Kamala Harris really stumble on the national stage, whether it's her inability to go down and communicate on the border why she's in charge or what the problems are, or articulate why she's not going to physically be there. Or now what we see is her stumbles where she's not quite able to articulate patriotism the way that others are. And by the way, in Sacramento, with the progressive left, let's be very clear. When you become someone who loves your country and articulates patriotism, you are at risk of being called a nationalist or a racist. And so what happens is politicians like Kamala Harris, they avoid it. They don't wear their patriotism up front like many other politicians do. Now, look, we can have a debate on whether or not that's good or bad. I think it's very bad. I think when you're a leader, you need to articulate your love for your country constantly, and the values of sacrifice for those before us. Freedom isn't free, as the saying goes, needs to be articulated for sure on Memorial Weekend. And so I think what you're just seeing is the stumbling on the national stage because she's untested. She has not been through the rigor.
Yep. Ambassador, I want to play a couple sound bites for you. Both the president and vice president recently spoke at a couple of commencements at the Naval Academy as well as the Coast Guard. Let's listen to those, and I'd like to get your reaction.
And just ask any Marine today, would she rather carry 20 pounds of batteries or a rolled up solar panel? And I am positive she will tell you a solar panel, and so would he.
You're a really dull class. I mean, come on, man. Is the sun getting to you?
Now, to be fair, these were attempts at humor. It's easy for conservative media to pile on and replay these clips over and over. But to me, it seems like there's something more, something deeper there, really being out of touch with our military. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, it's what their go-to is these progressive, solar panel jokes, or constantly thinking about the Green New Deal and putting that into the military. I think that the idea that she's prepared to lead the country is a joke. She's never been put through the rigor. She's really unaccustomed to tough questions. You'll notice that she's not meeting the press. She's not going out because she's just really used to having the comfortable Sacramento or California press cover her, which means she gets glowing reviews for anything she does. Now that she's in Washington, certainly she still has the progressive DC reporter type glow all around her, but she's now having to face conservative media or real journalism, and she's unaccustomed to that.
Right. Rick, regarding the media and China, I think there's a lot of gaslighting going on right now because a lot of the corporate media wants America to believe that the facts have suddenly changed regarding the Wuhan virus and the origin of it and the likelihood that it came from a lab there. But John Carl of ABC, he sort of said the quiet part loud. Let's have a listen, and then I want to get your reaction.
And yes, I think a lot of people have egg on their face. This was an idea that was first put forward by Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, Donald Trump. And look, some things may be true even if Donald Trump said them.
So, Rick, Donald Trump said this well over a year ago, that the virus likely came from a lab there. And John Karl admits that corporate media doubted it simply because it came from Trump. Your reaction?
Look, only in Washington, D.C. do they look at half-truths and pretend like it's the full truth. The reality is that if you go to the DNI website, currently on dni.gov, there is a statement from April 30th, 2020, which makes clear in April of 2020 that the intelligence community wide, all of them believing that COVID-19 started in China, and it was either the wet markets, animal to human transmission, or the Wuhan lab. The intelligence community said this publicly in April of 2020. They briefed Donald Trump. They briefed Mike Pompeo. So when Jonathan Karl says, oh, Donald Trump was saying this, no, Donald Trump was listening to his intelligence, his career intelligence officials tell him that it was COVID-19 that started in China. And he heard all of the details about possibly where, all of the theories, and what, out of all of the intelligence agencies, how many thought maybe a leak, maybe it was Wuhan, maybe it was animal to human transmission. He was fully briefed. So this idea that somehow he was just out there, guessing, as Joy Behar would say, it's just not reality. And only in Washington, D.C. did they push this.
Indeed. Ric Grenell, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.